everyone knows about school fights. You know, the act between two students vigorously swinging at each other in hopes of one of them knocking the other kid out. I mean, it ain't always go like that, to be fair. Some niggas knew how to box, some knew how to wrestle, some people even knew how to hit whatever the hell this shit was. Then there was me and you, who ain't know nothing at all. We just kind of peeled off to the sides and watched from a distance. Hall of Famers in the fighting realm like Floyd Mayweather, Bruce Lee, goddamn Khabib, all great fighters. All fought and attained extreme levels of wealth that I'll probably never witness in my life, except these niggas were professionals and made a living off this shit. Whereas you, on the other hand, now has Jacob from your geography class about to swing on you for looking at Stephanie the wrong way during presentations. For free. Nobody's being paid. School fights was probably the dumbest shit I've ever witnessed in my life. 9 times out of 10, niggas are fighting over the littlest of things you wouldn't even believe it. Like, I remember being hella young. Like, I'm talking, I ain't know how to tie my shoelaces young. Back then, fights were low-key kinda simple. Like, if it was my day to play games on the computer, but somehow by the time I got there, a nigga was already stationed up and straight grinding his ass off, it was justified to slap the fuck out of him and not face too many consequences. Like, it wouldn't have been crazy to do this. Not saying I did, but it wouldn't have been crazy. Around this time period in one's life, you would only really fight during recess time, as you would be tied down to your desk otherwise. The calendar season played a large effect when it came to fighting in middle school, because this was a direct correlation between what you would actually be fighting over. Like, when it was winter, me and all my niggas would build snow castles and forts and try to make one bigger each time during every recess. The problem? Every other kid on that damn playground would do the same damn thing. Now it's 11 a.m. on a Tuesday during your English class, where instead of learning the difference between the 3 different kinds of dares, you're now conducting strategies on how you're going to take all the pieces from the 4th grader's snow fort without being fucking expelled. The plan was simple. If you were one of the fastest in your grade, as soon as the bell rings for recess, your job is to get to their fort first and take as many of their pieces possible. However, by the time you got outside, the other team's already there because their teachers let them out early. Now our snow fort is missing hella pieces, and the niggas who took them are just looking at us straight, laughing and mocking us, and all hell broke loose. I remember my boy was on go immediately and wasted no time running over to the kid laughing and just pushed him over the wall of his own snow fort. Next thing you know, every nigga and their fucking mom is swinging at each other. It's now been 15 minutes of just anything and everything being thrown. I'm talking pushing, shoving, tripping, kicking, you name it. And at this point, the teachers on duty would get involved. As soon as the teacher got involved, it never ended well and always went one of 2 ways. 1, everyone is now banned from their snow forts and receives detention. 2, you got suspended because the kid you pushed started fucking crying. By the time summer season rolled around, niggas started accusing each other of stealing people's shit at recess time. I remember when it was baseball season and my boy brought his signature custom ball. Some miraculous way there was a kid in a younger grade who apparently had the exact same one with the exact same signature. When second recess came, this kid had no idea where it was. So while playing, our ball lands next to him, where the kid proceeds to pick it up after he realizes it's there. About 15 seconds go by and we notice he's not throwing the ball back. So me and my boy go up to him. My boy goes, "Yo bro, pass me my ball." In which he responds, "This is my ball." What the f? He then proceeds to say he has the exact same ball with the exact same signature in the exact same spot. Yeah, f***ing right. Before he could even finish his sentence, my boy already had his foot inches deep in his chest. Like, I'm talking straight karate, acrobatics. That nigga was not playing around. Eventually, his boys noticed what was going on and came in. And next thing you know, everyone's swinging at each other. Me and my boy ended up walking out of the situation with our ball. And then the second recess bell rang, letting everyone know that it was time to go back to class. Not even 30 minutes later, the PA system turns on, in which we were both called down to the office. Now you're 30 minutes into history class and have to perform the slow walk of shame on your way out while everyone watches you. By the time niggas got to the office, you see the kid sitting next to the principal on the couch, f***ing bawling his eyes out. After going back and forth with the principal, me and my boy ended up getting an in-class suspension, meaning we had to spend the entire next day in the office. What the fuck? Middle school was a crazy time because the teachers never gave a single who was actually in the wrong. Because every nigga in there is a damn kid, whoever cries the most and shows the most emotion always walked away scot-free. I couldn't tell you how many times I watched niggas shed fake tears just to walk away smiling immediately after knowing they just finessed everyone in that damn room. Then you get to high school. And for some weird reason, this is the time frame where the fights niggas would get into were the most treacherous, diabolical, outrageous fights you would ever see in your life. Somehow fights in high school always had two formats. One nigga would say something slick and the other person was not having it, so they'd start scrapping immediately. Two, everyone starts talking about the fight like it's the next Floyd Mayweather vs Manny Pacquiao boxing event. Now you're in first period geography class and Mark on your right is talking about some, yo bro, you hear about the fight? Nah bro, who's fighting? Bro. You don't know? Come on bro, no way bro, that's crazy. After Mark's nothing but a waste of a breath, gatekeeping ass response, first period ends, and you're walking to your second class just as confused. All of a sudden, your phone is blowing up because all of your boys are messaging the group chat. After scrolling through the 50 missed messages of just straight memes and brain rot, you finally learn that Anthony will be fighting Lucas at the local community center after school, because Anthony DM'd his girl asking for the f***ing math review. What the f***? You ever notice how in high school, somehow word got around that people were fighting after school in the span of 0.2 seconds? Like in my high school, every nigga knew within seconds who was fighting, where they were fighting, why they were fighting, damn near instantly. Fast forward a couple of hours. It's now the end of the day, where the fight is going to be taking place at your local community center across the street. So you and all your boys pull up. The way this shit was so organized, you would have thought niggas had a bunch of sponsors and fucking campaigns running, bringing in thousands of dollars. Not only was the location for the fight hella clean, no rocks, no dirt, flat grass, but every nigga somehow managed to be there on time as if they were penalized for being late. Like when it came to fights in high school, somehow everyone was there early, but when it came to class time, fuck no! Immediately after pulling up, you notice everyone has now formed a perfect circle enclosing the fighters in the center, where you proceed to witness the most ridiculous fight for the next 4 minutes and 23 seconds. Anthony has been throwing haymakers for the last 35 seconds. Not a single one has landed, but he refuses to stop throwing them. Lucas has been throwing kicks that are in fact hitting, but carry absolutely no power at all. And the worst part? Every single nigga in that circle has their phone out and has been screaming while recording so you can't hear a single thing. Eventually, both people realize their current fighting strategy is not working, so they finally switch it up by tackling each other to the ground. This is where the fight would always take a huge turn, as one person always ended up on top of another and is straight messing the other person up. Now Lucas is being hammer-fisted and elbowed, causing his nose to start bleeding, and his girlfriend is watching the entire thing happen. Everyone would start chanting and getting closer to make sure they capture the footage, where eventually hella people jump in and finally break up the fight. And for some weird reason, when the fight was over, every male in that vicinity's testosterone level would start oozing out of their damn system, causing them to try to start fights with anyone there. I deadass remember hearing one guy go, "I want to fight now. Yo, Dav, you trying to get active?" In which me and my boys immediately proceed to walk our asses the hell home. The aftermath of high school fights were always horrible. The videos are now trending all over the school in the worst quality possible. Niggas are making straight memes and edits of the worst moments. Lucas's girl broke up with him. It was all just a mess. Then you had the other situation where someone was just straight not letting the other person slide. My high school had a main area we all called the foyer. At the end of the day, niggas would just chill there for 20 to 30 minutes before going home for whatever reason. On this one day, my boy decides to say, "Yo, Dav, you don't gotta go to your locker today, bro." In which I agreed, and we all pulled up to my locker. After messing around for 10 minutes, we headed back to the foyer for my locker. Immediately upon arriving, you would have thought a earthquake occurred and threw everything everywhere. Bags are all over the place, people were on the floor, everyone's yelling and recording, teachers are getting involved, and you hear the cops on their way outside. And the craziest part is that you and your boys missed the whole thing. Apparently one girl said something to another and all hell broke loose. Later that day, videos start going around regarding the fight, where you see these girls straight ripping each other's hair and throwing each other all over the place while everyone watches. By the time the teachers would try to get involved and break up the fight, one of the girl's best friends already has a metal water bottle charged up and unleashes it at her head. High school was ruthless because when teachers would try to break up fights, niggas started swinging at the teachers as well. Nobody gave a The aftermath of these fights were even worse. People ended up going to court, transferring schools, and even getting fucking expelled. Finally, you get to college, and surprisingly, niggas are a lot more tame. Not as many people are fighting in college, considering the fact that hella people stay more to themselves and simply just go to class and then go home. There was always those 1 to 2 kids that straight didn't care about anything and were ready to crash out at the smallest shit still, but generally speaking, most people were a lot more tame. School fights were dumb, but still necessary on the off chance words simply were not enough. It's funny cause teachers would always say you gotta ignore niggas picking on you or bullying, but I can't remember a single time someone fought for themselves and proceeded to still get picked on. Granted, they probably went to jail or got expelled, but that's besides the point. For the record, I don't condone fighting, but I also don't condone getting picked on for long periods of time and doing absolutely nothing about it. I mean, you tell me. Do you think fights in school were ever justified, especially in the means of self-defense or persistent bullying? Or were some people just bored and needed attention from their peers, so started beefing hella niggas for no reason? I'm starting to sound crazy again, bro. I gotta cut this shit off, man.
Kiss that, kiss that, kiss that.